Hi, I'm Leah and welcome to Make All the Things with Me. And today I have 7 easy spring DIYs that you can create in an afternoon. The first one is this little bird cage that I got from Dollar Tree. And I just moved them back and forth and then they just popped right off, and I'm saving those for a later project. So I gave this a coat of white paint. It's chalk paint by Waverly. I gave it 2 light coats of paint, and then I grabbed some sisal fiber and shaped it into a nest, added some Spanish moss to the middle of the nest, and I had that pick of Easter eggs from Michael's, and I cut off the eggs, put them in the nest, and I brought out my mini Bowdabra to make a really super simple bow. And I probably could have done it without the Bowdabra, but I just love how easy it is to use. I attached it to the bird cage, and then I have this little wood tag, painted it in the white, and wrote home, tweet home on it, and then attached it to the bow and on to the bird cage, and it's absolutely beautiful. I just love this for spring. I could probably keep this up all season. My next project, this is Dollar Tree clay pots. I haven't seen them this year. They come in a 3-pack. This is from last year, and I got those carrots at Dollar Tree this year. Just gave it a quick dry brush of white chalk paint and then Java from Folk Art Home Decor. It's a chalk paint as well. And then I did that to the carrots as well. Just kind of made them look distressed and old. And I had that little bunny with the cottontail. I just used a wet wipe to apply the Java paint to it, and I got some on the cottontail, so I just painted it in white, grabbed some burlap ribbon, cut it in half, wrapped it around the clay pot, added some green moss into the pot, put the carrots in there, glued the bunny to the outside of the pot, and this is just so stinking cute. It is not just for Easter. Thank you so much for being here. I would love it if you would subscribe. For this next project, I used up the last of my favorite scrapbook paper. It has these tiny little roses on it, and I just grabbed that hanging shelf from Dollar Tree, painted around the outside with the Java chalk paint. I distressed the outside edges of the paper and then used a glue stick to put it onto the board. Now, here's what the finished project looks like. I went to open up my coffee pod jar because it got stuck, but no worries. I will walk you through what I did, because here's another little project. It's a little wooden frame with a little clip on the top of it. I painted it with the Java paint, distressed the edges, and I tore this little piece up to fit on that frame. And instead of using a glue stick, I used my coffee pod, which is glue, instant coffee, and water to adhere the paper to that little clipboard. And once I did that, I did another coat of the coffee pod over it to seal it in. And I did this because I liked that old look, that worn in look, kind of vintage look. And then I grabbed one of those little bees from the bird cage. I glued it to the bottom, a pretty pink bow. I love how these turned out. All right, for this next one, I've had this flower shape wood cut out from Dollar Tree for a while. Gave it a coat of white paint. I sanded it because it was a little bit rough. brought out this daisy napkin that I got from Home Goods, and I'm decoupaging it onto the wood flower. And I use my glue stick. I love using the glue stick with napkins. It just makes it so much easier to handle and to pick it up and put it back down, because I did have some wrinkles. So after I had it all smoothed out and the way that it looked mostly decent, I put a layer of Mod Podge on top of it, gave it a quick dry, and then smoothed it out some more, and then used a sanding block to sand away the edges. And I used right here on that round Dollar Tree frame, I used Vintage Mustard by Folk Art Chalk Paint and distressed it with Antique Waverly Blacks. And now I'm just putting it on the board so it looks right, and I'm going to stencil on it. So I put the stencil in the middle of the frame, and I started off stenciling with the Vintage Mustard, but it didn't quite show up even after a few coats. So then I went in with Sage, and that quite didn't show up. So then I added some Java to the mix, and then it looked good. Finally, I just wanted to use something that matched the whole piece, but I do like how this one turned out. Used Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, some hot glue, glued it into place, and then added a pretty bow. Okay, so out of my stash, I grabbed this Dollar Tree candle. I think it's from last spring. So I heated up the little label, and it took a little bit, a couple tries, but I finally got to scrape it off after heating it up. Once I got the label off, I put a layer of Mod Podge onto the glass. I did half the glass at a time. One, because the napkin didn't go all the way around. I did have to use 2 napkins for it. And I just took my time, added the Mod Podge as I rolled the napkin onto the glass. And once I had it on there, I added a layer of Mod Podge to the whole piece. And as I was doing that, it ripped a little bit. So I just grabbed a little piece of napkin and put it right back on there, put the Mod Podge over it. You can't even tell. I heat set it and then sanded off the edges. And then I grabbed a strip of fabric, and I'm going to stencil on it. So I have the stencil from the Stencilsmith. It has the word spring on it in all different shapes, sizes, and fonts. I chose the vertical one, and I grabbed some regular chalk paint by Waverly, and I think this one is Fern. And I just stenciled it. I made sure that my brush was very dry when I did it. I didn't want any bleeding, and it worked on the first try. I absolutely love how it turned out. And then I just wrapped that around the candle, added a lamb's ear leaf and some flowers, and I absolutely love how this turned out. Now this was the easiest project to make. I grabbed that little ceramic bunny from Dollar Tree. It has like a woven pattern, like a weaved basket pattern. I just gave it a coat of Waverly Antique Wax all around the bunny. I painted his nose with a black marker and made a beautiful bow for him. So here are all of the projects that I made. These were all so quick and easy. I made them in an afternoon. Thank you so much for watching.